Welcome, Emma. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
I'm really looking forward to our conversation today.
Mm, Me too.
Yeah, manifesting with the Wizard's Gate. Wow, that's intriguing and fascinating and magical.
It is magic. All my work is magic.
I'm really looking forward to understanding a bit more about that magic. But why don't we start by understanding who you are and what your story is?
Okay, so I've got quite a few facets to my story, and most of you will know me as a money coach, but that has kind of changed in this past, I would say, only a few months. But I'm going to talk about, my story started really when I was born, because I was adopted, and that's kind of the route that I'm taking now. And it was from this place of loss and trauma that, I've had quite a few experiences of loss and trauma throughout my life. However, the big pivot for me was back when I turned 40. I was in a marriage that I absolutely, it made me really ill. I had a breakdown, and I was in a really bad place, and I never wanted other people to experience that. And I've been on this kind of journey for the past 10 years to this point where actually now I feel able to help people that have been adopted. However, that pivotal part was I lost my marriage, my home, and my business in the short space of just a few weeks. And so, again, it was a massive loss and a massive trauma. And just really starting to try and rebuild my life from that place with two small children in a foreign country. And yeah, it's kind of gone along in a particular way, but from the outside my life looked really successful. I had a multi-million-pound business, I had a marriage, and a massive home compared to Indian standards, and this luxurious lifestyle, a cook, a cleaner, a nanny, a driver. But on the inside I wasn't successful at all. I felt really unworthy, and although I had like this big bank balance, I felt I had a huge worth but just no worthiness within. And that's kind of really the beginning of my journey, the learning different techniques and modalities, and cleaning myself up from the inside out. And now I help other people claim their birthright, because essentially we're all here to be happy and whole and healthy. And if we haven't got those three things, then, in my opinion, it's a bit of a life wasted.
Yeah, this is the second time I'm listening to this story, and it gives me goosebumps every single time. Yeah, this is such a powerful story that is rooted in loss and trauma and how you have built your life back up. It's so
Yes,
inspiring. It's so inspiring.
thank you.
There's something that you said that really struck me, and that is how you had a huge net worth because there was a lot of money in your bank account. I know that you were a very successful business owner, and yet you felt unworthy inside.
Yeah, totally.
Mm.
I spent a lot of time people pleasing. And I think that is rooted in my early years. And I think a lot of people can really resonate with that people pleasing and having no boundaries and letting people walk all over them
Yeah.
and constantly giving, and folding themselves up into pieces or knots, or into this really tight little ball, to not take up space, to be apologetic for being here on the
Yeah.
planet. And actually we're not taught how, or I wasn't taught, and we're constrained a lot by conditioning, whether that's government, teachers, siblings, parents. So we take on a lot when we're young. And so, you know, back to my story of being adopted, I didn't want, you know, I didn't want to be sent back to the children's home. No matter, that was never going to happen because I'd been taken on legally. You know, there was a court order that I would be placed with these people. But my little mind, having had that trauma, didn't really understand that. But whether you've been adopted or not, I still feel that those being a people pleaser, particularly as a woman, is really a very strong non-identity that we want to let go of.
Yeah, you've touched on something so powerful there. We'll come to that in a moment, but I want to share with you that we have a live audience building up here. We have Jill Brown, who's joining us from Wales, and we have Laurie, who's joining us from the US.
Awesome. Hi, folks.
Hi, Jill. Hi, Laurie. Thank you for joining us live. Right. Let's talk a little bit about this people pleaser in the context of a non-identity.
Oh, gosh, I do say some things, don't I? We identify as people pleasers. Well, we probably don't identify as being a people pleaser until somebody actually recognizes it, and how we are constantly giving and giving, and then suddenly there's no more left in the tank. So really it's an identity, but we want it to be a non-identity. So if we can let go of that people pleasing and place strong boundaries, and that's not just boundaries for other people, but boundaries for ourselves, of what we are willing and not willing to accept. And I think we often talk about boundaries for others, but we actually forget our self-care is paramount.
Yeah. We have a question for you here. Jill is asking, is people pleasing a shadow side?
Sorry, I've got something in my eye. Is people pleasing a shadow side? I do believe so. It is an identity of the shadow, but it recognizing it in with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can start changing that. The shadow is all those negative traits, aren't they?
Yeah.
But when we rummage around in that darkness, that's where we're going to find the light. And people don't like to go and rummage around in the darkness. It's scary, and an ego wants to keep us safe there in survival. But when we step out into the light, that's when we start, we could perhaps go a little bit too like, no, you're not going to be doing that. So it's becoming the equilibrium between the two.
I love that word, equilibrium, because that's what it is all about. Balance everywhere.
Do you know, I'm going to disagree with you, Perel. I don't believe that balance exists.
Oh, this is becoming very interesting. Tell us more.
Yeah, I don't believe balance at all. I believe in harmony. And so if we talk about the shadow, because you can't have a balance of shadow, you can understand the shadow to be able to step into the light. But if you look at scales, it's very difficult. If you have the scales of like weigh scales, it's very difficult to get them completely balanced, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when you look at it having harmony, there's no attachment to it. Okay, I can accept that. I can take responsibility for that.
I see what you mean. So when we say balance, are we talking about a certain degree of control there? Because this much is what should be one side of it, and the other side of it's got to be this much. Whereas when we accept things to be in harmony, they just coexist.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good analogy of it. Definitely. You're right, because people talk about balance, don't they? They want a balanced home, work, life. Well, let's face it. I mean, I've got 2 kids at home. I'm a single mum. There's no balance at all. So all I can do is try and create harmony within the house, because balance, yeah, it's a control. And the only people that we have control of is ourselves. But when we're so rigid in that, right, I've got to do this, we get resistance.
Yeah. So what you would aim for is harmony in your household and at work, and not necessarily balance.
Yeah.
You know what? I spent years talking about work-life balance as an HR business partner in the corporate world.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Oh, this is so fascinating, so fascinating. Jill has another question for you, Emma. And Jill is asking, doesn't shadow and light balance?
No, I don't believe it does, because light outshines darkness. I mean, okay, where are we? Now we're going into yin and yang and dark and light within the 24-hour clock. But I still believe that the shadow's there to teach you something. The shadow's there for you to recognize that something is a little bit off, that's not working for you. And once you have taken responsibility for it, accepted it, then the natural cause is light, and that shadow is then past.
So true, true. Laurie has a comment. Control is an illusion. What do you actually control?
Yeah, totally.
We've already touched upon some really deep stuff today, haven't we?
You know, I've got a dating profile and it says, I love deep conversations. So, you know, you're going straight into it. Men can't handle it.
They would still be talking about the weather when you would be talking about a lot deeper.
Yeah.
So Emma, let's spend some time exploring the topic that we have chosen for today, manifesting with the Wizard's Gate. What do you really mean when you say you help people manifest with the Wizard's Gate?
Yeah, so the manifesting with the Wizard Gate is briefly having what you want coming to fruition. It's like being on the superhighway. So I've got some slides for us. I'm going to just bring them up. Sorry, just a second. Let me go into them. And then I've got some, what do you call those things? Notes. There it is. Move that out of the way. Can you see that? Yes. You can see that? Yep. Cool. Excellent. Okay, so manifesting with the Wizard's Gate, and you know, the world needs you to love yourself. And I think that's so important at the moment. We all talk about love, but love is the highest, you know, it's not the highest, but it's when we operate from love and above, things miraculously change. and that's not the Wizard's Gate. So I work with the superconscious, and that's all about creation and healing and intuition. And when we are operating, when we start working with the superconsciousness, then we can start changing the collective. We can start changing humanity. And the way I look at it is like we're in the middle. This is us as the fist, and then so we have our consciousness, and then we have our family consciousness, and then out here we have humanity and the collective consciousness. And that's the part that we're changing when you work with me. And the great thing about that is it just has this huge ripple effect. So not only are you working on yourself and your traits and shadows and lightness, but you're then also expanding out to other people. So we need to use structure and tension to create a life without struggle. I'm just going to let that sit for a moment, because that to me is such a profound statement. We spend so much time in struggle. We spend so much time fixing ourselves. But actually, if we just created with the structure and we created a different tension, we can start creating a completely new reality. So take a beat. And what is it you really want from life, and what is it you really desire? Now, to me, what I really want from life is to have a life that I love. It's pretty simple, isn't it? To have health and vitality, to live my true purpose, and to be a proactive, creative force within that. Perhaps another one would be, what would you do if money was no object? And this is all leading up to, I'll just move that down to the Wizard's Gate. So if you want to chime in with some questions, and I'm going to leave you dealing with the chat in the Facebook group, then let's get the questions going. So our current reality. Now, I'm not saying that your life sucks, but that would be the worst scenario. That's not a nice scenario, is it? Or it's not enough. I'm not good enough. I've got scarcity. In my case, I was not worthy. And, this belief that I need to fix myself. That's kind of what the personal development world is talking about. And then our desired reality is we feel better now. We've got love and money, abundance and joy and health and impact. But here's the trick. When we live in this reality, our current reality, and we want to get to our desired reality, our future self, we have no idea what that really is. And so what has to happen is identity, the ego, has to die. The ego does not want to do that. It's there to keep you safe and surviving. So what happens is, on a Monday morning, right, I'm going to do it this week. I'm going to get there. I'm going to go, and I'm going to change my reality. I'm going to have what I want. I'm going to live in abundance and joy and all the rest of it. By Wednesday, something might have happened, and you're back here, back in the current reality. You've shrunk back. I call it turtle syndrome. You've shrunk back into your shell, and you're thinking, oh, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. Monday comes around again, and you live in this perpetual cycle, and it's an oscillating identity, because you're trying your best against ego. It's like having a fight constantly all the time with the ego. But when you work with the Wizard's Gate, you can literally jump from the current reality into the desired reality. So, you know, I've done all the things. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a Reiki master. I've done access consciousness. I've done Akashic records. I have trained with the same teachers as Denise Duffel-Thomas to help me sort out my money problems. You'll know me as a money coach. You know, I've tried my hardest to change my reality and fix my mindset. And I spent years doing that and coming back, and I might take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forwards, 1 step back, but it was a constant. It felt like a battle, and quite honestly, it was bloody exhausting. And so what I've learned is that is all just story. And when we can leave the past behind us, it's so much easier to step into our future. You don't need to fix yourself to have what you love. And I know that you're here to create a good life. You know, I know that that's, you know, that's what we all want, essentially. And, you know, I'm delighted that you're here, and whatever your limitations are, your beliefs, your struggle, your excuses, the COVID-19, you're telling yourself it is just story. And it's not just that, but it's more importantly, who told you that? The government, the teachers, the parents, the siblings, the spouses, the partners. Staying in this identity of fixing yourself. You must do this. So I'm going to go back here and move that back up there. So if I need to fix myself, my beliefs, improve myself, educate myself to get to this, I need to let go of some stuff. So what is it you need to let go of? And we're going to do a closed eye practice, if that's okay. If we got time for that?
Yep.
Awesome. You know, and the common denominator is in the future. We want to lose weight, particularly, it's January. We often talk about losing weight, or, you know, change a relationship, or in my instance, I want a relationship. You know, or it'll be better when we have 5G, not that it will be. It'll be better when we have the COVID vaccine, not that it will be. It'll be better when I have a new car. Yes, I'd like a hydro car, please. But it's not necessary, is it? It's just something that I would like. And, you know, in my first business, I didn't have a clue about personal development. I started it when I was 25 and still amassed a £4 million property portfolio by the time I was 35. But what the key thing was, I didn't have a rock solid identity as a millionaire. And I didn't understand that was the missing piece. Although I've talked about loss and trauma and stuff, the identity of being what I wanted to be, having the life that I loved. Because I had watched my mum struggle all through life, and you watch other people as you're growing up struggling and thinking, is this it? No, I'm here to tell you that is not it. So the ego identity was scarcity, fear, guilt, shame. Oh, can you hear my daughter laughing? And all those low vibe feelings. So I think I've got another slide here. Yeah. So when you change the structure of your current reality, you move effortlessly into the desired reality. And that essentially is the wizard's gate, because you are just letting go of the old and stepping into the new. And when we do the closed eye practice process, it will all become apparent. oh God, sorry, I'm really sorry about picking my eye. So what is your ideal? And how have you decided it will be better when you have that? And how is now better than the future? And how many ways is the now better than what you desire? Now that's tricky, you know, that's actually living in the here and now. So when I lived in Goa, there was a shack. I lived on the beaches, and there was a shack called the Here and Now. And it is all about the here and now, because we're never going to get that moment back. And it's not just about being, oh yeah, you know, loving the here and now and all positive about it, but actually, how is now better, apart from just being now, than in the future? Because that future is never going to happen until you accept the now and start being the now to be the future and bring them together. And that is essentially bringing the two, the current reality and the desired reality, into this oneness, I'm going to call it, harmony, bringing it together, harmonizing where you see yourself with where you see yourself now. And if I can just explain, you know, we all kind of take the path of least resistance. So if we think about, you know, I live in the Cotswolds, we had floods here the day before Christmas, and but you know, all water's a structure at the end of the day, isn't it? So this is a structure, water's a structure, and it can change structures. It can be ice, it can be vapor, it can be water. It's flowing, it flows, it oscillates, and it can also stick. But if you wanted to stop the water, you'd have to dam it, and that would be creating a tension. But that tension needs to be maintained. But not only that, but it also has to have a little bit of a trickle, because otherwise the dam would burst. And often you'll see them going around and repairing dams. So it needs that continuity of maintaining the tension. And essentially that's what I do with my clients, is maintain the tension to get to the desired result that you want. I guarantee results towards your current, you know, into your future reality within one session. And you know, I've got testimonials to show that with specific you know, with clients, and how they, you know, people have come, they wanted to a new relationship, or they came about one thing and they got decades of eating disorders cleared up, or they started earning massive amounts of money just from this one small, simple process of recoding, I'm going to call it. So the instruction from the ego is to keep you safe and surviving, rather than letting go of the old. So I really would love to take you through this closed eye practice. It's not very long, and so I invite you to close your eyes, and let's just think of the worst case scenario. You know, choose your worst case scenario. Would it be you've got no clients? Is it that you'd be single at 70? Would it be that, you know, you lost everything? You know, whatever that may be for you, and then completely desire it and choose it. So you're choosing it now. You are in that worst case scenario. But what I want you to do is to find some positivity within it. So if you're broke, you had no responsibility. You can stay where you are very easily. There's no pressure, there's no compromising. If you're single at 70, there is no compromising with a partner. You've been able to do whatever you want to do. If you had no children, you can jet off all around the world. Just find the positivity within that worst case scenario. And recognize the feelings that you have. What's come up, how does it feel for you within your body? Now, I'd like you to choose the relationship that you really want. Choosing the best case scenario, your future reality. What is it about that is negative? Being a millionaire, the responsibility of employing people, the pressure that you're under, having no time, being in a relationship. What's the negative of that? Whatever your desired reality you want, what is the negative? And how does that feel? What sensations are coming up in the body? Now I'd like you to come back to the middle. Between the two, there's no positive and there's no negative. You're going to choose both at the same time. The positive and the negative of being happy and abundant and in love. Love for yourself. And it's you that gets to choose and create the feeling. There's no good, there's no bad. Now I invite you to come back to your body and decide what emotions you are going to keep out of that experience. You choose now. There's no external. It's your choice. No matter what, you're happy, you're content, you're abundant, you're loved, you're joyful, you're healthy. It's your choice. And bring that feeling into your heart. No matter what, you can be confident, joyful, in love, happy. It's all for you. Just relish that feeling that you've created for yourself. You're now going to make it bigger. This feeling is going to fill your whole body. Your torso, your legs, your feet, your shoulders, your arms, your hands. This feeling, you're going to move all these feelings into a balloon. The balloon is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's getting above your head. And that balloon, you're now going to pop. And as it pops, all these beautiful feelings are going to wash back down over you. No external matters. It is just you. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into the room. How was that?
Very calming.
So can you see, by bringing the two together, you bypass anything else? And that is what I call the wizard's gate.
I have a couple of questions here. So are we talking about by putting the worst case scenario and the best case scenario and seeing them as one, or by placing them together, are we saying that we have got to unconditionally accept the as is so that we can create whatever we
Yeah.
want?
Yeah. Or let go of the as is. Because that is just story. And it's like then you're catapulting yourself out of restrictions into possibilities.
But how does this new way of looking at things translate into concrete choices and behavior? Because that's what is going to help us move forward, right? And create a different reality.
And that's about just choosing. In this 10 seconds, you can choose something completely different. In the next 10 seconds, you can choose something else. But I make a choice today that I'm going to embody my new reality and let go of that old conditioning and paradigm.
So are we talking about, I'm just trying to gain clarity on what we are doing here.
I love your
Saying
questions.
are we saying that while we are at A, we start living from a place of B, because we cannot create B if we are still living in A?
Yes. Yeah, it's just a choice of moving to B. I like the way you've put that.
I wonder if that's what people call alignment in vibration.
Yeah. Yes, it is. You align to that true choice. And the universe is always conspiring to help you make that true choice. And no choice is a wrong choice. It just might take you a bit, might take you on a different route to get to B. But once you start living from a place of B, yeah, A does no longer exist. And I think it is quite clunky to get your head around it at the beginning.
It is. It is.
You get that. It's taken me a long time to understand this. But actually, it's just a choice. And when we look at it from that perspective, it's like, okay, yeah. And as I say, I've been doing this now almost 10 years. And it's only been in this past year that I really understand that.
I'll cut myself some slack then.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we are saying here is, when it comes to wanting to create a different life or live a different life, the first step is making that choice that we are going to be aligned to how we want our life to be.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then following up with the relevant behaviors and actions.
Yeah. Yes. So with you keep sitting, I'm going to say, or being in the true choice and noticing the body sensations and the feelings that you have when you're in your true choice, in your future reality. And notice what the resistance is, what you're avoiding from having that true choice, that future reality. And when you notice the resistance, there's some processes that we can do. If you came to me as a one-to-one client or a group coaching, group recoding, I call them, and we clear the resistance within the super consciousness for that creation, the healing. And it's like waving. It is literally like waving a magic wand to move into that. And you find that the resistance, if your resistance is at a 10, you can move it down very quickly.
Yep.
And it's that conditioning that has created the resistance of having that true choice, being your true purpose.
But here is what I really want to understand, because this is where I get stuck, or this is the bit I'm yet to figure out. And it's a fair guess I'm making that a lot of other people would have this challenge as well. So
Yes.
I have all the intention to align myself to the reality I want to create, and I'm ready to do the work. I'm ready to work on myself, do what it takes. And I'm also choosing to align myself vibrationally with the new reality.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do that, let's take a tangible example, money.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we are working towards a certain goal, financial
Yep.
goal, but my bank statement shows a very different reality. So maybe my bank only shows I have £10,000 in my bank account, or I have none, and what I really want is 100,000 or maybe a million, whatever that number could be. And when I try and align myself with that number or with that reality, with what I have or don't have, my mind says bullshit.
Money is a structure.
Yeah, and that could be applicable to any other thing. I could be vying for a relationship, and all I keep on getting is, say, getting turned down for relationships, and no matter how much I want to align myself vibrationally, a person doesn't show up. Then what do we do?
I would first of all definitely look at what are you avoiding by having that.
Ooh, okay.
What is behind really having the money, the relationship, whatever it is for you, fill in the blank. And I'm going to talk money because that's what I've been kind of doing for the past, I was going to say 5 years. And money is a measurement of the value that you place on yourself, and also how your clients place on themselves. So it is literally a structure. But if you're if we have two, let me see if I can say this in a coherent way, because I've got it in my head. You've got two glasses. One glass is muddy water, and the other glass is clear water. Which glass do you want?
Clear water.
No, the clear water. But often we're taking the muddy water full of all the crap. And so when we think about that, would I give that to my client? Would I give that to my relationship? Would I give that to money? No, you're not. You want to give them the clear water. So how many times are you thinking, you know, what you really want is actually clouded with the muddy water? Have I said that? Does that make sense the way I put it across? Because it was in my head. Like, okay, let's try this out. It really is down to the resistance. On a scale of 1 to 10, you don't have to answer this, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how resistant are you to having that relationship, to having the money that you desire, the money that you really, really want? Is it really the money that you want? Because money is just a byproduct of your value.
Byproduct of a person's value, how they perceive it themselves.
I don't believe it really is about the money, but we place so much emphasis on money because we need, you know, we can't, it's very difficult to live without money, isn't it? I mean, it would be amazing if we could live without money, wouldn't it? And go back to the bartering days, because then the value would be all about you.
Yeah.
But we've made it personal. We've made everything personal about us. But if we took us away, there would be no person to put it on.
I hear you. I think I had heard this in what you just said in different words and in a very simple language in one of the seminars I attended a few years ago. And this facilitator said, your net worth is not equivalent to your self-worth. Your self-worth is not equivalent to your net worth. They're two different things. And when you start mixing them up, that's when the trouble arises.
Yeah, I think Kendall, who I trained with, she actually says your self-worth, your net worth is reflective on your self-worth, but I actually tend to disagree with that now.
Here's a question for you, Emma. How can someone feel unworthy and accumulate great wealth?
Yeah, that was me. I don't know how I did it, in all honesty. I think I was very lucky. No, I'm not going to use lucky. I took a lot of risks. I was a massive risk taker, and that again boils down to my addictions and taking risks. But I do believe that, I think, right, people, you know, definitely you can feel unworthy and have great wealth because you haven't made being unworthy personal to your achievements. I don't know what I said there. Did it make sense? Sometimes things just come out of my mouth. But if you are willing to take yourself out of the equation, then definitely you can create massive wealth. And for me, so when I had massive wealth, I used to rent to single mums, to abused women and to the homeless. I felt I was doing a great service, and essentially I was. And it wasn't about me. You know, I didn't think, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy another house and add it to the list. And okay, there was a bit of ego going on there, but it was, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to add it to the portfolio, but I'm doing a great service for other people. When we're in every business is doing a service. So, we hear often, and I've been that person as well, oh yeah, I just want to make an impact, I just want to be of great service, but actually the service is for us. And when I look at my business, yeah, that service was for other people, but it was also for me to live the luxurious lifestyle that I had, eat in the best restaurants, wear fancy clothes, drive nice cars, have all the maids and staff in the house. That's what it gave me. But then I realized that there was more to life than that, and that lifestyle didn't make me happy, and that's when things started to fall apart and crumble, and then my unworthiness started to really shine through. Hope that answers the question.
Yes, I hope so too. So if you were to give one big message to our audience, what would it be, Emma?
You are enough. One big quote, but just love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Every single part of yourself. And take great care of yourself. And that really is it. When we start loving ourselves, because that's what the missing piece for me was not loving myself. And when you start loving yourself, you come from a completely different place, because you're oozing the love for other people.
Well, yeah, we can only give what we have ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank you for that message.
Mm.
Tell us, how can people work with you?
Yeah, thank you. So the best way is probably to email me at info@emmagreenslade.com, or you can just message me on Facebook, friend request me and send me a DM. I want to say, actually, at the moment, I'm doing, whilst we're in lockdown, and that's the UK lockdown, because I don't know where anything else is going on in the world, I am doing pay what you feel sessions. Now, these are not to be missed. They won't be repeated unless we go back into another lockdown. But pay what you feel sessions, and that's for one-to-one coaching, or recoding, and also the group sessions. And I do have, and if anybody wants to do the money work, because I'm moving away from that and into working with adoptees, the Money Transformation Blueprint course has been taken down. But if enough people are interested in doing that, then please let me know that, and I can send you the brochure around what that is. And if we can get 10 people on it, then we can run that as well. But those, pay what you feel sessions, one-to-one or group coaching.
Okay, and will you be able to leave all the links just underneath this video when we finish?
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you.
Okay, all right. And where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, basically on my personal page is Emma Greenslade. Everything else has come down, because I've just this concentrating on the adoptee work, which is, if any of you are adopted, then please come over to it is called the Adoption Experience Healing Hub, and I'm starting a club called the Adoptee Club, and that website will be out probably next week. But currently I'm at emmagreenslade.com.
So is it only for children who have been adopted, or is it also for parents who are adopting?
it is only for children that have been adopted.
Okay. Thank you for
Yeah.
that clarity. Emma, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody who has joined us live. Thank you, Jill. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you so much.
Okay, lots of love, everybody.